Okay, let's unpack this. You've given us a fantastic stack of sources all about brewing coffee.
Yeah, quite a bit to dig into.
One thing that really struck me looking through this is how each method, I mean, even for basically the same goal, a cup of coffee feels so different. It's got its own personality.
Hmm.
So our mission today is really to give you a quick shortcut, kind of distill this down so you're well informed about these distinct brewing methods, plus a classic drink. We want to pull out the most important bits from your material.
Let's do it.
We're going to dive deep into making that perfect cup right at home.
And what's fascinating here looking at these sources is just the sheer variety.
Yeah.
So many ways to get that perfect cup.
Right.
And they all highlight how these different techniques really do give you different results. Each one has its own character, its own flavor implications.
Yeah.
It's quite surprising sometimes.
Absolutely. So let's start with one that lots of people love for being smooth, simple. Well, simple to make, maybe not simple to wait for. Mean bean cold brew.
Ah, yes, the patient brew.
Exactly. I know for me, waiting 12, even 24 hours for coffee, that's a test of willpower. But what's the big payoff? Why wait?
Well, beyond just patience, the real key is that cold water, like your sources explain, it just doesn't extract the same stuff as hot water. Fewer bitter acids, fewer oils.
Oh, okay.
That's why cold brew is known for being incredibly smooth, naturally kind of sweeter tasting, and much lower in acidity.
Right.
You use coarse ground dark roast, about 1 cup of grounds to 4 cups of filtered water. Let it sit in the fridge 12 to 24 hours, then strain it.
Yeah.
Metal filter, cheesecloth, whatever works.
And then just serve over ice.
Serve it over ice, yeah. Maybe add some almond milk or vanilla if you like. You get this concentrate that's surprisingly mellow.
Okay, so that covers the patient approach for smooth coffee. But, what if you need caffeine now? Like minimal fuss. That brings us to let's call it the everyday hero. The New York State of Grind Drip Brew. This must be the most common way people make coffee, right?
Oh, for sure. It emphasizes simplicity, consistency. You're looking at a medium ground, bold roast coffee, filtered water. Usually a 1 to 16 coffee to water ratio is a good starting point.
1 to 16, okay.
And whether it's your basic drip machine or maybe a pour over setup, that medium grind is really important.
Why medium?
Well, it allows for efficient extraction in that shorter brew time. You get a strong, steady cup without pulling out too much bitterness. It's reliable for a reason.
Makes sense. Now, for folks who like something richer, more texture, there's the No Sleep Till Brooklyn French press. This one always feels a bit more, I don't know, involved, ritualistic.
It does feel a bit more hands-on, yeah.
Yeah.
And the result is definitely distinctive. For French press, you want coarse ground coffee.
Coarse again, like cold brew.
Yep, coarse grind. And hot water just off the boil, not quite boiling. The ratio here is usually around 1 to 15 coffee to water.
Okay.
And that coarse grind is vital because you're steeping it longer, about 4 minutes usually. You don't want it to get bitter or over-extracted. Plus, unlike drip, there's no paper filter. So all those natural coffee oils and some fine sediment make it into the cup. That's what gives it that famous full body, that kind of heavier mouthfeel.
And you stir it.
Yeah, stir it about halfway through the steep, then plunge the filter down slowly and pour right away.
Got it. Okay, moving towards intensity now. Grind and shine espresso. This is where things get a bit more technical, need the right gear.
That's right. Espresso is really about pulling a very specific 2-ounce shot using an actual espresso machine.
2 ounces, okay.
You need fresh beans, ground really fine, almost like powder, and good filtered water.
Yeah.
The magic is the high pressure and the super quick extraction.
Just and furious.
Exactly. It concentrates everything, creates that lovely reddish brown crema on top. And like the sources say, you can sip it straight or use it as a base for lattes, cappuccinos, all that stuff.
Super versatile. Okay, but what if you want the concentrated, intense coffee flavor, but don't have the big machine? The underground mocha pot comes to mind, that classic stovetop gadget.
Ugh, the mocha pot. A truly fascinating bit of kit. Yeah, it gives you something like espresso, but it's different.
How so?
You fill the bottom chamber with water, just below the safety valve. Add your espresso ground coffee to the filter basket. But here's the thing. You don't tamp it down, like for an espresso machine.
No tamping, right? Why not?
Because it operates at much lower pressure. Damping could actually block the water flow. You just level it off.
Right.
Then you screw it together, put it on low heat.
And wait for the gurgle.
You've listened for that hiss and gurgle, yeah. That tells you it's done. It brews a rich, strong, concentrated coffee, often called espresso style. It's intense, but technically not true espresso because the pressure isn't as high. Still fantastic, though.
Definitely. And once you've got that espresso or maybe even strong mocha pot coffee, you can start making other drinks. Your sources also mentioned a really simple, elegant one, the espresso cortado.
A cortado, yeah. It's wonderfully balanced. So simple.
What is it exactly?
It's just equal parts espresso and steamed milk. Typically 2 ounces or about 60 milliliters of espresso. And then 2 ounces, 60 ml of steamed milk poured right over it. Not super frothy like a cappuccino, just lightly textured steamed milk.
So 1-to-1 ratio.
Exactly. It cuts the intensity of the espresso just enough.
Yeah.
Lets the coffee flavor shine through without being drowned in milk. Quick, popular, perfectly balanced.
Nice. Okay, so, wow. What does this all boil down to? We've gone from the really patient, smooth cold brew to the quick, intense espresso shot, the reliable drip, the full-bodied French press, that concentrated mocha pot brew, and even a simple cortado. It feels like you've now got a pretty solid overview of how these different methods work.
Right.
And maybe more importantly, why they taste the way they do. The grind, the time, the temperature, the pressure, it all matters.
It really does. And if we connect this back, to the bigger picture, now that you've explored these distinct processes, the grind size differences, the varying steep times, hot versus cold water, what specific things might you listen for or maybe taste in your next cup? Having explored how each method shapes that final brew, does knowing the why behind it change how you might savor it? Or maybe what you choose to brew next time?
That's a really great question to think about. Hopefully this deep dive helps you appreciate every single sip just a little bit more.
Cheers to that.
Until next time, keep brewing and keep exploring.